Greetings, vac fans, and especially Bissell fans. So this was donated to the lab a few years ago, and you know who you are, and thank you very much, because over the last few years, I have used this extensively as a topical surface cleaner for our 10-year-old boxer's dog hair. And it does an excellent job picking up topical dog hair. But over a period of time, this needs to be, shall we say, serviced. So let me show you what I like to do periodically. I don't do this every single time that I use the machine, but to be honest with you, probably every 5 or 10 times I use it. I mean, it's going to vary depending on how much goo you pick up, so to speak. But I want to show you what I do in order to keep this wonderful machine in a tip-top shape. So the first thing is, how about we empty what's in the bin? That's from my last session. It's not very much, but it's certainly something. All right, so we've done that, but we need to break this down, so to speak. So how about, we're going to wash some stuff here, by the way. So I'm going to take a look at the filters. We've got a couple of filters here. That's what they look like, right? And these really aren't that bad. This one has almost, nothing in it. And if it does, you've waited too long to clean it. And then this one has, well, something here that just kind of fell off. Doesn't look that bad, but it's not as blue as it could be. And the other side looks pretty good shape. So we got to wash that. All right, that's great. And let's see, how about we go and take the cyclone assembly out. Now that, right, untwists easily, and yeah, we're going to wash that. No, it's not clogged, okay? Well, not yet anyway, but it's going to be, yeah, smells like dog, right? And this kind of stuff is coming out. So we need to, I'm going to put that that way. So we need to go and put all this stuff in the tub, and we're going to do that. But you know what? If you don't have a tub, you can put it in say a large sink, for example. And we're going to clean everything out. All right, you'll see that in a little bit. Now, let's take a look at probably one of the most forgotten pieces is the HEPA filter. This is the exhaust HEPA filter. Now, normally, honestly, only over a very long period of time should you need to do much with this. But I kind of recommend, tapping this out, kind of like that, and or getting another vacuum and vacuuming that out. And this should last, honestly, unless you really abuse it, a number of years. And I think what it is I will tap this out a little bit harder on the concrete to see if anything comes out. But I am not expecting anything to come out of that filter. So we'll find out. So let's see, we got all that out. And, oh yeah, you know what? I guess I'll address this. For some people that make heavy use of this particular tool, we go Turbo Pet Eraser. So I don't use this a whole lot. You can see it's almost, but not quite, perfectly clean. But if you want to get this apart and actually clean it, you got a little kind of a notch there, right? So what you're going to do is you're going to turn this 180 degrees until that comes around, right? And then you should be able to simply lift up and remove this top piece. And even though we're not going to do a full disassembly here, everything literally just pops out. Or if you turn it upside down, falls out. So that's pretty easy to go and take care of. And I guess you could put a little lubrication in certain spots. But this just, I mean, I can wash it. I mean, most of the stuff in here is plastic. And then dry it off. That's got a little bit of goo in it. So maybe I'll toss this in the tub as well, because why not? Then when you're done with it, you can go ahead and just, let's see here, turn it the right way, 180 degrees and click, and you're ready to go again. So you have a bunch of Phillips screws. Let's see, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And there's some other ones that won't make any difference because we need to just remove this bottom rug plate. Now you can see, obviously, there's a bunch of my wife's hair there, and that stuff you normally have to go and, clean off by hand. I think people quite understand that. That's pretty easily demonstrated. But what happens when the brush roll gets, well, sticky? If you have pets, they have dog hair, not my wife's hair, and that dog hair has oils in it, and it makes the brush roll sticky. So have you ever had this type of Bissell where you've removed the brush roll entirely and then washed it? Now again, I mentioned that I'm going to put this in a tub, probably with Persil, but if you don't want to do that, you can certainly put this in a sink and then just use dish soap. Something gentle. Let's see. There. Okay, so we have much better access to things now. Yeah, so see how that dog hair kind of builds up? Yeah, we got to clean that. And now we can get the brush roll out, and you see, look just how much stuff. Use your fingers and zoom in and see just exactly how much stuff builds up here. It's quite a bit. So I can just pull this out. Simply remove, they say. Up you go. Come on. You can do it. You can do it. There we go. There. And you've got a belt over here. Should that belt, it's a spline belt. Should that belt ever go bad, that's easily replaceable, but it really shouldn't ever go bad. And here, let me show you what we got. There's a close-up for you. So plenty of hair, but when you pull this hair off, right, which maybe I'll do that now. Why not? When you pull that hair off, the brush roll itself, which is all plastic, should be fairly slippery. It shouldn't be discolored, and it shouldn't be sticky. And this one is discolored in areas, and it's also sticky. So, that's why we're doing this. So give me a minute to go ahead and pull all this hair off. But yeah, you need to service your brush roll now and then. That's for sure. So you can begin to see that the bristles have discolored areas, right? Here, let's look closely. There, see the bottom part of the white bristles? Yeah, you definitely got some dark spots in there. Same thing with the blue. And in general, oh, this right here? Yeah, right here. This is pure goo, right? It literally is. My carpet isn't sticky, but my oily boxer's hair is. So that's what we really need to concentrate on for today's video. Now, this brush roll is like 99% plastic, okay? However, there are some bearings in here, which I'll show you in a minute, and we'll talk about that. As soon as I get this hair off of here. Ooh. Got anybody in your household with long hair? My wife's hair is over 2 feet long. Their hair's sticking to me. Okay, so there. Good enough for government work. Mostly. There's always going to be one more hair somewhere. All right, so let's look at both ends. So believe it or not, you can put this whole thing in the water. You can dunk it, whatever else. But keep in mind, right, you've got some bearings, right? You've got some metal pieces, this side and over here, okay? And what happens with this? Well, if you were to wash this or soak it and then take it out of the water and then have it take days to dry, you could introduce rust, okay? But if you go and you add heat and a little bit of air, like say, I don't know, put a fan on it, or this is February of 2026 and I'm in Central Ohio, and guess what? I've got central air, which means I've got vents with heat coming out. So what I will do, and I'll show you this a little farther on in the video, I will take this entire assembly and I'll just put it on the vent. And then the vent literally will blow hot air. And in a period of, I don't know, maybe 15 minutes or something, these metal pieces right here, in addition to the entire brush roll, will be completely dry. So I won't have to worry about introducing any long-term damage, rust, or anything else. But if you forget to do that, then you could have a problem later on. But normally, if you just are sensible about what you do, you're never going to have an issue. So let's clean up a little bit of the mess I've already made using my Blue Bosch, nice compact high power canister. I've had this machine for a number of years. I don't know if you can see all this hair, right? Whoop, gone. Now let's see. Wow. So much buildup. That's a tremendous amount of buildup, isn't it? Look at that. All right, that will make quite a difference. Oh, and you know what? How about we don't forget the hose right there at the end? Maybe one of the most neglected pieces of the vacuum out there. You figure, well, if it isn't clogged, it must be in good shape. So we're going to find out. Now this hose looks like this. So it seems like it's in really good shape. And you know what? It probably should be. But let's see what happens when I go and dunk it and put a bunch of water through it. Let's see how much stuff comes out. Oh, look at that. There's a little bit of stuff right there, isn't there? Something else I want to do before we hit the tub is clean up this, front power nozzle lens. And I'm just going to use a paper towel and like some Windex, or you can use some Fantastic, or you can use any type of, general cleanser. Maybe something that's got a little bit of a degreaser functionality in it. And that will make it look nice. Oh, I see I knocked off a little part here. Here, knocked off that. Got to put that back on. See, look how dirty that is, right? Ugh. Yeah, you see what builds up over time? Probably more than you think. Or maybe you know, right? But you just kind of wonder, well, how difficult is it to service this thing? Well, now you'll know. Yeah, here's this. Yeah, a little hard to see because it's plastic. And let's see, looks like that goes in like that. Is that right? Yeah. Okie dokie. Tub time. So as I mentioned, my favorite cleaner is the, well, that's pretty expensive, Persil. But you don't need to use all that much, I suppose. All right, let's see exactly how dirty the inside of this hose is. You might be surprised. All right, here we go. Ready? Oh, that's the inside of the hose. And that's a hose that looks fairly clean, right? Looks can be deceiving. Yeah, look at that. Whoa. Now I did notice there's one spot in here that's a little difficult to clean. I'll show you where it is. You can get it with like a, I don't know, a wire or a toothpick. Right in here. Yeah, right there. See that? So there's little holes in there. You get a toothpick, you can pick that out. This is what I do when I'm in the winter because, well, the sun and the cold outside won't dry this, but the heat coming out of this vent will. So sometimes I'll go ahead and, I'll stand it up this way and the air will, blow up the sides. Sometimes if it fits right, I'll go ahead and put it this way. This is a little bit too big to get, everything dried, especially the bearings on either end. That's what you need to do. For something like this, you can just lay it on it. And if it's heavy enough, it won't blow off. So that's all I really do. And these things will dry very, very quickly, especially in the winter. I think right now the humidity outside is like 25%. So let's just say it'll dry real quick. Anything going to come out? Let's find out. Nope. Nothing. Absolutely zero. Nothing there at all. And it's been a few hours later, so everything's in pretty good shape. But I did discover that this brush roll, well, rather the hair wrapped around the axles right here, on this side especially, not so much on that side, had really caused some additional resistance that I didn't like a whole lot. So at some point in time, I might actually record a video where I disassemble this brush roll by very carefully prying off the end caps, because I don't really want to damage this. But I think if I go and I get a little prying action on this side and on this side, at the same time, I might be able to take that one off easier than that one off. But we'll have to see. That's going to be a video at a later date. But now, at the moment, this actually spins very well. And no, it doesn't have anything to do with, getting water in there or whatnot. It was just an awful lot of hair. So this is in pretty great shape. Let's see if we can't get that back together where it should go. Now let's see, this has an orientation. Let's see if I can get that back in. That all be in there? No. Got to realign here. Hello. There we go. All right. That's better. Everything looks and smells better too, of course. I can't remember. Does this just go straight down or... Nope, just straight down and straight in. All right. Very simple. So a few screws later, and this rug plate will be back on. And the top lens of the nozzle there will look an awful lot better than what it did a few hours ago. Now I did notice, it's a good time to do a wheel check, that these little wheels right here don't spin very well. They're not bad, and I'm not seeing any hair in them yet. But you could lubricate those a little bit. No, not with WD-40, but use like some silicone spray or a drop of oil. Something like that. And then, wipe off the excess because you don't want to be scrubbing it all over your carpet. Right, so we have an orientation with this. So let's see. Kind of wrap this all together. And I bet you we're going to kind of go in something like this. Okay, that's in. And this has a little orientation in here too. Let's see, which way does it go in? Is it this way? I'll turn around here. All right. Yeah, that's it. All right. So we have this sitting well now. And pop the top on. If you're having trouble putting it together, just play with it a little bit. You will see what the correct orientation will be here real quick. And then give it a turn, click, and that is in a lot better shape now. Good, yeah. So, fantastic. So the hose actually smells wonderful now. Yay, that's fantastic. And how about we put the dustbin back together? Push and twist lock. And then, see, you can see that? Now you can. So, insert first. All right. Insert second. Put it in that way. Click. All right. See how fast this goes back together? No big deal. And how about we set this up? See, this has an orientation. So, see, you got some tabs. Needs to grab there and click in. There's that. All right, good shape. Now, make this so you can see it. Let's see, I'll tilt it like that. Can you see the whole thing? Oh, good. You know what? I was just looking, and there's some nifty little goo here. I didn't get a chance to get that out. But look at that. Look at that. See that? Look at that little pile right there. Isn't that something? It just builds up in the connections. So you would kind of expect that. Kind of get that out. Much of it as I can. Because it's going to build up again, obviously. So there's a nice little blob of goo right there. Isn't that neat? All right. So let's see. We've got one end that's going to go in here, push and twist. And then something similar to that. Clip that in there and push and twist in here. So we get rid of that dirt. There's always more dirt. Kind of never ends. All right. Going up. One clean bin, extraordinarily clean bin. And then one turbo tool accessory. Okay. So now we have a fully serviced, or this is as much service as I would normally give this particular machine on any type of semi-regular basis. How often would I need to do something like this? Well, honestly, it depends on how much and what type of dirt you pick up, but I would actually say I probably want to do this, maybe 3 or 4 times a year in my situation. But your situation, if you have more pets or whatnot, or you pick up something maybe you shouldn't have more often than I do, you probably have to do it more often. So let me know what you think, and also let me know if you have this particular machine. This is the MultiClean Allergen Lift-Off Pet. Sheesh, what a name. But as I said before, I really do enjoy using it, and it's wonderful for picking up pet hair. So that's the best use for this thing that I have found so far. I really enjoy it. I can't say that I use the lift-off function a whole lot, but I certainly do like using it, especially when it's clean and the brush roll isn't sticky. All right, thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more.